Welcome to the Homeschool Together podcast. Where one working mom and a stay-at-home dad help you navigate the nuts and bolts of the growing and dynamic world of homeschooling.
With a focus on early learners, like me.
All the ins and outs of building and maintaining your homeschool life.
Homeschool.
Find out tips and tricks to make things like this easier.
I'm reading.
And ultimately, enjoy educating your kids. And what's that last thing?
Have fun together. Did I do good, Daddy?
Yeah, you did, sweetie. Good job. Hello and welcome to Homeschool Together. We got a great episode today. If you could, head down in the show notes and connect with us on social media. And if you could, leave us a review on iTunes. It would be really nice if you could do that. So today we're going to be talking about, one of the hidden issues that, we all face, which is adulting in the face of the hurricane of children and the, things that we've been running into with homeschooling children, raising our kids, dealing with the pandemic, dealing with life in general. We had a couple of requests from the community to actually talk a little bit about, maybe some pro tips on adulting.
Yeah, I mean, homeschooling is a lot more time intensive than sending your kids to school. We all know that. We knew that when we signed up for it, but
there's also a lot of planning, and it's
right. It's not
books,
just the time it's not just the time you're actually schooling your children. It's all the rest of the time that you're with your kids all day, and then when they go to bed, you're, like you say, you're planning for the next day. You're setting up the things for activities and
you're cleaning up from the day.
Yeah, getting your materials together. And homeschooling can take over a lot of our lives, and it's hard to balance getting our other responsibilities met, right? We've got responsibilities for our home, for ourselves, for our marriage, and if we can't take care of those other aspects, we're giving everything to our kids, then we're actually not giving the right thing to our kids, because we're going to have a burnt out mommy or daddy who's not going to be able to, be there for them the way that they need. So
there's a lot of downstream effects when you are stressed, you're tired, you're frazzled, you have a lot of anxiety about
looks like a bomb went off in your house.
Yeah.
I know I can't function when our house looks like that. I just can't. You've seen it. Some days I go on those, I must organize days, because I just, it bothers me. And I think there's lots of parents there who feel like they're running and they can never quite catch up.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that has been exacerbated by the pandemic.
Oh, totally.
Isolation, not being around friends, not being able to see people. A lot of that just compounds. Maybe we're not sleeping enough. Maybe we've had some health issues. We feel we're very sedentary. A lot of those things, maybe we're not making good eating choices. On top of that, our children are, young kids and toddlers and very young learners, and we're trying to homeschool, and we're trying to make dinners, and we're trying to take them to the parks if we can, and take them places wherever we can. We have these weird things on our faces. Everybody's uncomfortable. And, a lot of that can compound on top of itself, and it's really, I think, negatively affecting our mental health, the mental health of our family. We've seen that with the children, with lack of being in schools, lack of being around children, lack of being around friends, doing Zoom classes all day long. That has been a stressful thing for people. And, I think I've listened to a lot of reports about the rise of, mental health issues with young children. I don't think people are talking enough about the mental health issues with parents. And so I think we're going to try and talk a little bit about, today about maybe, just pro tips. I mean, a lot of it is just common sense, but we'll talk a lot about the things that we do in order to manage those things and keep our sanity together and move through. For me, I always have the, grease the skids as much as possible, and try to alleviate stress and anxiety wherever you can, maximizing your, available time to do the things you need to do, to allow then additional time, whether it's sleep, whether it's you have your own hobbies. Like I just got a writing sprint in before this podcast. Like, how do you find fulfilling things in a world that is very stressful right now? And how do you find meaning and how do you carve out time for yourself when you feel maybe you're stressed and you have anxiety. So it's, I think, a little bit deeper philosophical talk that we normally talk about, and all wrapped up in this idea of adulting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just wanting to give some tips and
Yeah.
tricks and ideas. I think it's hard. We get stuck in our own ruts and our own routines. Sometimes it's nice to hear from somebody else, something they did. One of the things we'll talk about today is something that another mom told us a few weeks ago and made a huge difference in our home. And it seemed like a no-brainer when she said it. And it was like, so, maybe some of these things are simple, but it's nice to hear from somebody else and maybe give you an idea to shake things up with your routine and hopefully help you manage your other adult responsibilities and passions and things while still maintaining your homeschool.
So the way we always start, we've done some discussions in the past, like, oh, how do I get around, the frustrations of teaching my student in the moment, or if you have some challenges that you're facing, the first thing you always need to do is kind of step back and assess where you are. So
Right.
how would somebody go about, say there's a mom or a dad out there and they're feeling kind of down and a little frustrated. It's the middle of the summer. They're sitting outside letting their kids climb trees and they're just staring at their phone and they kind of feel a little down. So, what would be the first step for them to begin to maybe change it up?
Yeah, so I think if you're feeling like, oh yes, my house is chaos, or I never have enough time to get everything done, this is for you. And so the first thing to ask yourself is,
But can't they just take the magic potion that Hermione took in that one Harry Potter book? Go back in time.
oh, that's not a potion. That's a time turner. That's a magical device. That's not. I'm sorry, folks. He's not Harry Potter literate. He totally read it, but not like he didn't
Isn't that what she did?
absorb it. No, it's a time turner. It's a magical device. It's not a potion.
I thought it was a potion thing.
No, it's a time. Okay, we're not going to go into this now. All right, I'm sorry, y'all. Sorry for the deviation. So, assessments. No, we cannot go back in time. We cannot create more hours in our day. So the first thing is to really, if you're bothered by the state of affairs in your house, what really bugs you most? Now, it could be difficult, like, oh, everything is chaos, but really, like, when it comes down to it, if you could fix a couple of things, what are those things? You might not fix everything overnight. Your dad has a great thing where
My
he's
dad
like,
was just thinking about
he's
it.
like, if your bed's made and your dishes are clean, you'll feel pretty good about your house. Like, even if everything else is not great, those are the things.
You make your bed in the morning, clean your room, and then do the dishes.
Do your dishes in the evening. Like you that's like minimum viable product, right? So, and I always think of that too. But what is it? So, for me, I know that I have a really big problem with toys. I have a really big problem with clutter. If the toys aren't put away, if things are cluttered,
you're not putting your little people away.
Yeah, and not just not put away, but they're like haphazardly put away, where everything's just kind of thrown into a bin. That's my bugaboo. That's like the thing that really gets me. That and dirty dishes. Like, I've got those kind of things, and if I can tackle those two things, I really don't care if I didn't get to I didn't sweep that night or something. Those are the things that bother me. So really get in touch with yourself and what is the things that bother you? What are the things that really bother your spouse? Like, just a couple of them, because tackle those first and you'll see how much better you'll feel by just, going for the ones that really bug you the most. The second thing is, are you really taking time for yourself? If you feel like you can't keep up with the house and stuff, chances are you're one of those people that probably isn't also taking time for self-care. And I know that's kind of like a fancy new agey word, every time I hear self-care, I think of like a spa or something, but it can be a lot simpler than that. We'll go through some ideas, but really it just means taking time for yourself, caring for yourself and your own interests and your own mental health. So are you taking time for yourself? And then are you taking time for your partner? Because your spouse is incredibly important, right? It's funny, they told us when we did our engagement encounter before we got married, we had to do this like weekend away for the Catholic Church. And they were like, all this stuff. And one of the things was, they said, if your marriage isn't good, like it will poison the whole family. Like, your home life will not be happy. Your everything with your kids, everything, the marriage is the foundation of all of it. And I really took that one thing to heart, that if we don't care for our marriage, then it's going to, everything in our lives is going to be poor. And I find sometimes we're running so quickly, we're giving everything to our children. We might try to take, and our jobs, right? And we might try to take a little bit of time for ourselves. And sometimes we can get so busy, we forget to connect with our spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And that's such an important part of everything too. So those are kind of the 3 areas to make some assessments.
So the home, yourself, and your marriage. Those are the 3 topics we'll hit.
Those are the three things we're going to go over. Yep.
So let's go. The first one, home. I have my grabber tool. I'm like a white tornado flying around the house very often. If your glass of water is in my way, it will be put away.
If there's ice, it's nice.
If it's
we had
ice,
to make
it's
a
nice,
rime
yes.
because he would just I would have glasses of water
just
that I
be
had only
throwing it in
taken
the
like
sink.
two sips. It's got full ice, and he would just clean it. Where's my glass?
I have to. I get, I'm like a great white shark.
That's your compulsion.
Yeah, the eyes roll back and I just start chomping.
Yeah.
So what's the first thing with the house?
So if you're running out of hours in the day, first thing is buy some more time. And by that, we mean institute quiet time in your house.
Mm-hmm.
If your kids nap, that's great. If they don't nap, that's fine. We still have quiet time in our house. It is a sacred time. It's in the afternoon. Our baby is napping.
Well, I shifted naps a little bit earlier for our younger one.
Right.
We made a big kind of lever.
We had to
shift,
make a little change there, but we're big believers in quiet time.
Mm-hmm.
This is time for your kids to have to entertain themselves quietly with something. Now, we like to put our daughter in her room for this. So it is time, usually like an hour, where she has to be in her room and she has to be quiet. I don't care if she's playing with something. I don't care if she's reading a book, but she has to be quiet. And one of the things we find with this is about half the time she will lay down and actually take a small nap if she needs it, which she just wouldn't get that opportunity otherwise. So giving her the opportunity to do it is really great. And this is time when we can be productive, either for something for our home or for ourselves, but instituting some quiet time. And I would say if your kids are not doing that now, start off small, make it 15 minutes, 20 minutes, work yourself up to some sort of a block of time every day that you can have, even if it's only 45 minutes, that you can attend to other things in the house without kids running around. And then you'll, if you can work yourself up this way, then you'll have this to take with you for years and years. Mm-hmm. And everyone will just expect that this is what we do in the afternoon. We have quiet time.
Yeah. It's one of the issues that I run into now that the 2-year-old is now talking to me full sentences and demanding a lot. I'm starting to get a lot more requests from the older one. And I don't know if that's, I want more attention, or I don't feel like I'm getting enough from daddy, and this what. I do find that I'm getting peppered a lot of times. Entertain me. What's next? I get the what's next, daddy.
I feel like you're the cruise director. Like you need to keep them entertained all day long. And part of this is we need to...
Next is jazzercise on the porch. A little bit of cosmic yoga in front of the television. We need to teach our kids
how to entertain themselves, to take responsibility for a little bit of their day.
Yeah, obviously not the whole day, but just a little bit of time.
A small amount of time. We're not talking about a lot, but and it's nice to separate them so that no fighting ensues.
But I have been finding that I do feel like I like you said, I'm a cruise director. And it does feel like I'm the source of entertainment. Like, okay, daddy, are we doing art next? Are we doing this next? Are we playing a game next? Are we going outside to swing next? Can I get in the pool next, daddy? Can you come and watch us? Daddy, can I go ride my bikes with you? It's like, oh my gosh, like my whole day is booked out. And it does it feels very overwhelming at points. And you do feel that kind of like urgency of, I would do anything right now. I'll cook food for the rest of the week if you could just give me an hour. It's like I'd rather just step away, and it does get that kind of overwhelming feeling. And I totally feel that, and the quiet time is a great way to get rid of that. So for me, one of the big things I like to do during quiet time is go work out, lift heavy things from A to B and back to A again.
Yep, you get some you time.
Well, and I can listen to podcasts, but also like I can get it out of my system a little bit, that kind of that physical nature. Because when you're shepherding the kids through the day, whether I'm the chauffeur or I'm the teacher or I'm the entertainer, or, a lot of times you're sitting and entertaining, sitting and doing things sitting at the kitchen table doing things, sitting in the homeschool room doing things. I don't feel like I move enough. And even though I'm moving a lot, I'm always up and down, walking around, chasing things. No, stop touching that. No, picking this stuff. No,
No knives.
Clean, put the knives down, and cleaning up this and cleaning up that. It is very nice to kind of get away and like hop on the treadmill or throw a kettlebell around or, do some pull-ups or, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And that is a nice way to, we're belaboring the point, but a little bit of time and whatever you want to do in that time is, I think, a good skill to hone with the kids. So the next one that we like to talk about is food. We kind of talked a little bit about it there is food. I think planning,
it's a source of stress.
Yeah, because if you think about it in the scheme of the day, you have breakfasts, you have lunches, and you have dinners.
Well, and snacks. Don't forget about snacks because they ask for them constantly.
Snack. But I pass out snacks like, I'm like a flight attendant. It's like, here's some peanuts. Get out of here. No, the breakfast is a big one because it's not just cereal every day. I try to, make them decent meals.
Put some protein in.
Some protein in there. And then the lunches. And then obviously dinners are a more elaborate event because most of the time we're eating that together. I tend to not eat all day. That's just kind of I do a little bit of intermittent fasting during the day. So it makes it a lot easier. I'm not actually having to make food for myself, which is really nice.
I have to make food for myself.
But
I eat like a normal person.
Yeah, you eat like a normal person. 20 hours fasting, 4 hours eating. It's great. It's a lot less work. Anyway, I know men. Anyway, but with breakfast, I'll spend 10, 15, 20 minutes making them food there. If I can prepare food ahead of time, pancakes, Eggos, sausages, bacon, pre-cooked, things of that nature, that proves to be very efficient. It doesn't take me as much time. I remember with our first, I used to make her fresh breakfast every day, which like she was at, the hotel. Like, oh yes.
Well, when you only have one.
My child, would you like your eggs sunny side up this morning? Fresh made sourdough? Oh, I'll be right at it. You do silly things like that. But now when I've got two, I've got to kind of manage that. Yeah. Lunches, peanut butter and jelly would be great every day, but they're not going to eat that every day. And so I've got to come up with different things, charcuterie plates,
yeah, I know you're always trying to keep it mixed up, which I think is great. I think the first thing about food can be stressful for a couple of reasons. The first,
takes time.
Right. Well, the first source of stress about food is what are you going to eat? And I definitely feel this way. If I walk into the kitchen and I don't have a plan, I get very flustered and bad things come out of the kitchen, or we usually end up going out to eat. So first piece of advice when it comes to...
even the funny thing is you struggle to multitask and you are paid to be a multitasker, terrible. But in the kitchen you cannot multitask.
I'm a fabulous mental multitasker and a really terrible physical multitasker. So I cannot cook a bunch of different things at once, but I can do a bunch of different things, have my brain in several places on the computer. So I don't know. Anyway, first piece of advice, if food stress is one of those things that you identify that's bothering you, is to plan time when you can sit and think without your kids to plan what your meals are. Take them outside, have them run around the backyard while you just have a few minutes to really think and plan what you're going to do.
You have the grease board where you put our meals for the week.
Right. I just took a simple picture frame from Michael's when they were on sale. I put a piece of colored cardstock behind it, and I wrote the days of the week on there. And then I use a wet erase marker on it every week. And so I've got Monday through Sunday going, and I can then plan what we're going to do for the week. And that tells everyone what's for dinner. No one has to ask me 18 times what's for dinner because it's on the board.
Well, and also in the morning when I'm, the kids are eating and they're occupied, I can look at the board and say, okay, that's what we're having for dinner. I will go out to the fridge, pull out the meat or pull out whatever it is, get it all set up and prepped for later that night. Like we're having pasta tomorrow night. Like I'll pull the sauce out, I'll pull the pasta out, and I'll be sitting there by the stove.
It'll all be ready.
It'll all be ready to go. And that's just an easy way for me to kind of alleviate that decision-making problem.
Right. Meal planning is really important. I know that it's hard to get into that habit, but once you really start, if you can just set aside a little bit of time to plan, that's really helpful. The second thing we would say is once you've done a little bit of meal planning, and it can be real simple, go into some sort of an app. We've got Walmart here and Safeway and Fred Meyer and whatever your local grocery store is, and queue up all of your groceries and go pick them up. Don't waste your time grocery shopping unless that's your me time. If you like grocery shopping and it's something you enjoy doing, then by all means go. But if it's a source of stress for you, please get yourself one of these apps and use it, because that's one of the greatest things that
One of the greatest things
to
come out of the pandemic.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever like
pickup.
grocery shop again, because it's just it's fighting, having the kids running all around, asking to buy things. I'm buying more stuff than I need.
Yeah.
Grocery pickup is amazing. And I find that doing it early in the morning is the best time. I can pack the kids in the car, each give them an Eggo, and go pick up the grocery pickup. There's no lines. It's really great. So think about grocery pickup if you don't like grocery shopping. The other thing that we would say is understand which nights you're going to have a crunch. Yeah. So if your spouse is working late one night, or like us, we had 2 nights a week where our daughter was in dance class and gymnastics. And both nights, you and she were going to be gone, and I was going to be home with the toddler. And, Lord knows I'm not doing a lot of cooking with her running around and, trying to get into things all the time. So
What's that?
Yeah, trying to climb up the pantry shelves. And so I'm home, and then by the time you get home, we're like a half hour away from when we would normally eat dinner. Those are our crunch nights. Yeah. Knowing that we have those, we did a little bit of pre-planning, and when we planned our meals, we know there was a couple of really easy things. Pasta is a great example.
Pre-cooked burritos in the freezer.
Right. I love making fried burritos. We make them up whenever we have leftover Mexican.
Your Alfredo sauce.
I make them up. I make extra Alfredo. I put it in the fridge. We make extra pasta sauce, put it in the fridge or freezer. We've pre-cooked sausages and put them in the freezer. I mean, think about whatever it is that your family loves to eat. Don't make it complicated. If a crock pot meal works for you, great. But just the most important thing is to identify your crunch nights, because there are going to be some every week based on whatever's going on, and you want to set yourself up for success. Don't plan something that's going to be complex for those nights, because I've totally done this thinking, oh, sure, I can get this done. And then I end up being really stressed out because I'm trying to cook with a toddler.
And then potentially the meal runs late. We come home, dinner's not ready till 6:30. Kids got to go to sleep in an hour.
Right.
We don't have any other time to do anything. We can't watch Clone Wars and Daddy gets upset, and and all the kids start to
There's
revolt.
not time for baths. The kids go to bed dirty.
No bath times.
I mean, it's just so. Yeah. Once we were trying for a while to do normal dinners on those nights when you guys were late, and we realized that effort was futile. We needed to identify that we're not going to be able to have those kind of meals
because we don't eat a lot of breakfast anymore, because we tend to skip that meal. We like to have breakfasts for dinner that night.
Yeah, breakfast for dinner is a really good one.
Brinners is what our friends like to
sometimes
call.
That works out really nice for us. So anyway, which nights are your crunch nights. Just identify those. The other thing that we would say is that if you can, we've gotten into the habit on like Sunday evenings, you'll grill, and instead of...
I'm the grill master.
Yeah, instead of grilling just whatever we're having for dinner that night, he grills extra meat that we can have for another few nights. And sometimes that meat is such that we can freeze it. Like he'll barbecue extra chicken. We can put it in the freezer and eat it late in the week. Mm-hmm. We reheat it in the oven. So it tastes really great.
You grill it, chop it up. It's ready for a big salad meal.
Right. Whatever you want to do. It's great. We just really identified that sides are easy.
Sides are so easy.
You can grab a salad. You can make a rice-a-roni. There's all kinds of sides, right? A quick vegetable. Meats are the hard one. They're the ones that take the most time and that need the most preparation. So those are the ones that take a long time to thaw. And then you have to, however you're going to cook them, and they take a while to cook and all that stuff. So we tried to take meat out of the equation for some of our meals per week by doing that cooking early. So just kind of think about it. And if you feel like if foods are a source of stress for you, cooking for your family, think about some of that stuff and see if any of that helps. Definitely some of those are things that have helped our family to kind of get our food stuff together.
And you'll find you'll carve out time. Like by doing this, you'll have additional time. You'll add 10, 15, 20 minutes here, 10, 15, 20 minutes here. All of a sudden you'll realize, my gosh, I have an extra 45 minutes a day because I've made this thoughtful planning, and I'm not panicking about it's 6 o'clock. We need to make dinner. I don't know what it is.
When I can, I love to plan my grocery pickup so I can get home and if all goes right, be able to prep all my vegetables, wash, cut, package them all in the fridge so that they're ready to go. Because if I do that on a Sunday morning or Saturday morning, that saves me time I don't have to do during the week. So
What also bulk
you know,
cooking kind of falls into that, kind of with the grilling, like
right.
bulk cooking sausages in the Italian sausages for pasta, and then freezing half of them for another night, where all you got to
Right.
do is pull it out, make some pasta, and you're
We
done.
bulk cook bacon in the
Bulk
oven. We
sheet,
bulk
yeah,
cook
cooking
breakfast sausage in the
breakfast
oven.
sausage and bacon on sheet pans in the oven is like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, we do a lot of that kind of stuff.
We should just do like a whole like week of cooking stuff.
Yeah, we've
We'd like food.
come up with a lot. Yeah. Well, we were both working full time and we weren't home, and we had long commutes. We had to come up with strategies that we
Yeah.
could use to
We
eat
weren't eating at 9 o'clock
quickly.
every night like Europeans.
Right. So anyway, these are just some suggestions. Let us know what you do to help make dinners and lunches and things easier for your family.
Absolutely. So next one, cleaning. This is a big source of stress, I think, for a lot of people. When the kids come through the house, it's just a disaster. And yes, you can try to stop them, then have them clean up as they go along.
That's always the preference, right?
That's
But
always the preference.
before they get something else out, they clean up what they were doing before. And we all try.
We try. Yes. I mean, you try. Like they have a friend who comes over and, they're just tearing through the house, and it's kind of hard for you to say, "Oh, gotta go clean all that up." And,
Right.
And so you want them to have fun. They haven't played with the kids very much, in a long time. You kind of just want to let that go. So how do you, what are some strategies around cleaning?
So one of the things is try to have a daily role for each of your children. Now, obviously, you can't do this with the really little ones. Like, we can't do it with our 2-year-old, but our 5-year-old has a daily role. And what we would say about that is make it something that's not just a make work for your kid. Make it something that's actually going to help you.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, my biggest issue is toy clutter. So my daughter's daily role is before she goes to sleep, all of the toys are put away. When I say all, I mean all.
Bonus
In
room,
the living
bedroom, living room,
the playroom, her bedroom, that everything is picked up and put away. That's the thing that bugs me. So that's her role. Because now sometimes her sister has gotten out some of those toys, but it's still her role that she picks up all the
She
toys.
does let us know that sister did this, but
And we remind her that we spent years cleaning up her toys when she was a baby, and she needs to now help out the family. And so she does. So, make sure that whatever role you choose, if dishes are the thing that bother you, then, assign a kid that needs to unload the dishwasher every morning or whatever it is, right? But pick something that actually helps you, not just something that's, trying to keep your kids busy. Sometimes I see chores. It's like, make your bed, but I wasn't making my daughter's bed anyway. So whether she made her bed or not, I mean, I think it's good for her to get into the habit of making her bed, but that's not her daily chore because it made no difference in my life. And I want these things to have an effect on us as parents. And I would be there, or you would be there with your grabber tool, picking up all these toys if it wasn't her responsibility to do that.
But also, don't make that list so long that the kid gets distracted or they get overwhelmed by that decision. Because you got to remember also they're 5, 6, 7 years old. And, having a laundry list of things they have to do every day is just not feasible. You're going to get a lot of strife and conflict and fighting from that. And for something that's supposed to help you, it's going to cause more anxiety and more issues and more, upset people yelling at each other and tears and all that stuff. So do make it doable, and something achievable without overwhelming the child.
Right. Absolutely. The other thing to think about is that you're gonna have a couple things maybe for your kids to do. You have some stuff you want to get done. You may not get everything on this list done. Mm-hmm. Lord knows we mostly don't get everything on our list done every day, but do the things that are most important to you first. Have your kids do the things that are most important to you, so that when you finish with the day, you can say, well, maybe I didn't get to everything, but let it go. Rest easy, that the things that bothered you the most have been taken care of.
I think to piggyback on that, this is something we've kind of alluded to in the past, but employing that Kanban methodology. I think I've talked about this a few times, but it's a developmental process kind of developed in Japan, I think with Toyota and manufacturing. But the idea that if you have all these tasks that you have to do and everything's 10% complete, you have done nothing, right? Otherwise, you can have 10 tasks and you may have completed 3 of them. and then 7 are completely, are incomplete, but at least you achieved those 3.
Mm-hmm.
And tomorrow maybe you can achieve another 1 or 2 more. Actually finishing stuff, going to what you said, actually getting things on your list complete, even if there's something you have to do once a week, like for me, mowing the lawn or cleaning up the backyard, the patio, or sweeping once a week, right? It's once a week. There's a lot of things you have to do every day, like pick up toys and things of that nature, but we do have like big tasks that we tend to have to do every week, and they're a big thing. And really having a nice understanding your priority list and not making it so ad hoc, it may require you to sit down and actually write these things down. Like, what do I normally do every week? Oh, I need to sweep once a week. Doesn't matter if it happens on Monday or Friday, I need to sweep. Or maybe I can have my 5-year-old or 6-year-old.
I'm telling you, as soon as she's able to do it, she's gonna be sweeping.
But as soon as I can get the harness to fit, she's plowing the fields. Like, I just need the right size. Her chest is just not large enough yet, and so I need to go talk to a leathersmith.
The fields in suburbia.
Yeah, and she's gonna plow the backyard because I'm just tired of mowing grass. But once they're old enough, like, I would love, please put it in the comments on our Facebook page. What do you have your 10-year-olds do? Because, man, I cannot wait.
Well, I'd love to hear what everybody has their kids do at different ages.
Absolutely.
I think that would be really fun to hear. I know that as soon as our daughter is old enough to sweep competently, she'll be, or even halfway competently, I'm going to have her sweeping up every night after dinner, because the amount of crumbs these children make. It's just unbelievable.
There's so many crumbs the dog can't keep up.
Right.
The dog cannot keep up.
So
another thing we like to do is a catch-up day. And it's very funny. The catch-up days, there's been a number of days in the last few months where we will not talk about a catch-up day, but all of a sudden I'll see, Ariel starting to clean up, and I'll be like, yeah, it's Saturday. We ain't got nothing to do.
You see my eye twitching?
She's twitching. She's
he can notice. Sometimes I say, honey, I just need to, all those things during the week.
And I get like the Jack Nicholson meme face going, yes, yes. and I'll put my headphones in, and I will like disappear and start doing, another section of the house. Meanwhile, the kids are kind of playing quietly. Maybe Daniel Tiger's on.
Or we get the kids to help. Yeah. I mean, it's that thing that
the catch-up day is a really nice thing.
Through the week, all those days when you didn't quite finish your list, you have to plan a catch-up day. That's the day when you're going to get all of that, or you're going to do the heavy cleaning.
But it doesn't even have to be a lot of work. A lot of times a catch-up day is us just spending 2 hours going through all the paper artwork that's accumulated for the week.
So much artwork.
Yeah. And we don't even have to look through it. We just kind of like sweep it into the trash.
No, I strategically take pieces to save.
Sure. Sweep it into the trash. And then like picking up putting shoes away. There's like 500 pairs of socks, and there's no matching pairs. Right. So all that goes into the laundry.
This is the time too when
you're wondering why there's only snow boots out. Like, that's my big thing right now.
Right. It's July.
I'm like, hey kids, let's put some shoes on. And then I have 2 girls with snow boots on. And I'm like, what is going on? This is insanity.
So this is plan the catch-up day for yourself. Yeah. If it's once a week or once every other week, and plan it for a day when your spouse is home and you're not going to be rushing off to something. Yeah. And just plan a couple hours.
A lot of times,
sit
like
the kids down
Saturday
in front of
morning,
some cartoons,
Sunday morning. Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll go, and that's a great time to do your heavy cleaning, your vacuuming in bathrooms, and just stuff that you maybe can't do when they're around. Especially we have a little one, so we can't do things with chemicals and stuff when she's around. So that's the time to do that, catch-up day. And one thing we wanted to talk about with home too is we had a friend come over, and she said her daughter loves to watch movies with her, and our kids love to watch movies or TV shows. They don't get to watch them all the time, and so there's something special, and they really get excited. Yeah. And so her daughter came to her and said, Mom, can we watch that movie I've been waiting to watch? And she goes, well, I don't know. Are you movie ready? Oof. And I was like, what does this mean? And she said, oh, that's my daughter's cue to take care of all the things that I've told her she needs to do that day and clean up everything.
So we've been implementing this for the last 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh, you guys, this is like a game changer. So our daughter will come down first thing in the morning. Like, she's barely awake. She hasn't even had breakfast yet. And she's like, can I watch something on Disney Plus? And I say, oh, I'm sorry, you're not TV ready. TV ready means that you're dressed, you've brushed your teeth and your hair.
All your hygiene's
You've
taken
had
care of.
all your hygiene's taken care of. You've had your breakfast and you've had a successful day of homeschool. So when those things have been met, we can come talk to me about it. So then all that stuff will happen. Okay, Mom, I did all that stuff. I think I'm TV ready. And I go, okay, just make sure that all your spaces are TV ready. Is your room TV ready? And she'll be like, no. And she and the little one, they'll run off and they clean everything. My 5-year-old and 2-year-old will pick up every toy.
They're dancing around like Mr. Clean in that advertisement.
They make their beds.
Music's
They
playing.
take care of their
Diana
hygiene.
Ross is playing on the Google Home.
They put away their laundry. I mean, literally, these kids will do anything for that half-hour educational show.
Oh, yeah.
And we're using this to our advantage. And the 2-year-old knows too. I'll say, well, is your room TV ready? And she'll go, no, Mama, crib, no TV ready. And she'll run and she will get it all ready. So, if TV is the thing your kids love to do, or they really want to go out, sometimes it's our daughter wants to go out and play with the kids in the neighborhood. I'll say, oh, I don't know if you're playing ready right now. Are you playing ready? Did you take care of everything you need to, all your responsibilities? And our 5-year-old runs off and takes care of everything.
Listen,
It's the greatest thing
It may
ever.
only work for another 6 or 7 months, but we're going to ride that horse.
Oh, I think it's going to work for longer than that because
think
these
so,
are
too.
things they really want.
Well, especially because we're the parents, we control, what they get. And TV for us is a luxury. Watching a Daniel Tiger, watching, dinosaur train.
Oh yeah, PBS is big in our house.
PBS, anything on PBS, yeah, we'll let them watch it, a little, Molly Denali, whatever it might be. You can get a lot for a 30-minute show, man, or LEV Lego show.
Hey,
My daughter will repaint the house for an LEV Lego show.
literally, our kids will clean for longer than the TV show would be just to watch it. That's how excited they are about it. Or, our daughter's going to go and see a friend tomorrow. And I told her before I put her to bed tonight, I said, remember that you're going to be going over to see her at, such time mid-morning, which means you have to be ready. And that means you have to have your room all picked up.
And do, a short bit of homeschool.
Right.
Daddy.
Yeah. You have to meet your responsibilities. So
I do like that. We're being able to push the idea of responsibilities.
Yeah.
Like, things are privileges. You have to earn them. And, you're part of a member of this family. We all work hard. Mommy works, daddy works, the dog works, everybody works towards these things. Now, it doesn't mean you can't have fun. We can't allow you to do these things. It's not like every single thing that they do has this giant carrot and stick behind it. But when they really, really want something and I really, really, really need things cleaned, it's a good give and take, I think.
it works out great, and they clean it so fast. If we just ask them to go clean something, it would be like pulling teeth. And I'm really impressed. Our 5-year-old does it, and her 2-year-old sister, man, she's right on it
Starting to
too.
pick it up.
She's seeing that her sister needs to do this, and they both run around and take care of what they need to do. So just something you can try in your house. Are you blank ready? And that means, are your responsibilities taken care of?
I agree.
Good.
So moving on from the home to self-care. So taking care of yourself, taking care of you as an individual, the mom, the dad, you're around children all day long. They're very demanding. They're yelling at you. You're fighting with them.
Well, hopefully you're not.
You're having a wonderful, lovely day with them.
I mean,
Whatever
it's not
it
all
might be.
flowers, but it's not fighting either.
No, I know. But, things can get irritating when you're asked
Well, yeah,
500
especially-
times, like, what's that? What's that? Or, what is next, Daddy? That's my favorite. What is next, Daddy? What do you have on the agenda for me? How will you entertain me for the next 30 minutes? Those type of things, over a while, it can get a little irritating.
Sure, and especially we spend so much time with our kids, right? It's
Yeah.
not like we see them for half an hour and trundle them off to school and then go, whew, okay, no, they're with us all day. So it's important that we take time for ourselves.
Avoiding burnout, I think, is the biggest thing because, when
Mhm.
you're just like when, people go to work every day, right? You need some vacation. You need some time off.
Right. We
You need a break. You need a weekend. You need to be able to down regulate from where you are, and you can have a little bit of fun an enjoyable time. So, what are some ideas that people can take to do some self-care?
Yeah. Like work, you get to go home on the weekends, but home, when we're home with our kids, this is one thing that you've even said too, is like on the weekends, I'm off work. And so I'm like, hey, let's spend some time as a family. And you're like, I've done nothing but be with the family all week.
Oh, yeah, more of what the week was. Yeah, sure.
Right?
Yeah. You want me to I'm on the job more? Yeah, no problem.
So
sounds great.
So the biggest thing is to set aside time for yourself. Our recommendation is set aside time for yourself once a week to get out of the house. And I do this to you.
I did it last night.
I push him out of the house. I say, tonight's the night. You go. Have a daddy's night off. And he goes out and he gets some dinner and he reads or writes or does whatever he wants to do.
Let's not mince words here. I go to Chipotle every single time. And I get my burrito, and get my bowl. And then I'll do something else, whatever that might be.
Right. Sometimes he'll go to a movie, or I mean, you're just starting it again because there wasn't anything open with COVID, and now there is, so you're able to do that. But
especially during COVID, we really didn't have time off.
Right.
Yeah.
Try to get out one day a week. Now, this can even just go for a drive. Listen to music. Listen to a podcast. Take some time outside of your home for you. Work it out with your spouse. Even if it's in the evening, just
doesn't always have to be the same day. It can, shift around.
No, whatever works out for you, but prioritize yourself once a week, something for just you by yourself.
I don't think it's unfair that you're home all day with these kids, you're managing the house, you're making meals, you're doing errands, you're doing all these things, and you don't get a little bit of a time away from that. Even with your spouse when they're at work, maybe they're commuting to work, or you're sitting in the office here. You may hear the horror that's happening on the outside of the doors, but you don't have to deal with it, right? You're not there.
Yeah. I'm here, but I'm not with the kids all day like you are. Yeah. And that's why you need that time.
That separation.
And even I need my own time, and I do get bits of time, but this doesn't have to be a long time. You don't have to have a whole night off. It could just be going to grab yourself some dinner by yourself, or going out for a drive, or going grocery shopping. If that's what, an outing for you and you enjoy it and it's me time, that's fine. Have some me time that's outside of the house.
Could be a bath, sitting in your your hot tub.
That's the second stage, right? I think first stage is you have to once a week, you got to get out for just you. Second thing is you need to take time a couple of times during a week, three times during a week, to do something inside the house that's just for you at a minimum, right? So this could be, I get an hour reading a book, or, I am going to take a bath, or I do a puzzle, or something. And we know
this is hard if you have a young kid who's still, learning to sleep on their own and stuff like that.
Oh, been there. With a co-sleeping baby. It's hard. And that's why I would sometimes, I would say, okay, I know my baby's co-sleeping. I'm just going to go to bed early. I'm going to nurse my baby to sleep, and I'm going to pack a glass of wine with me. or not, have a book there, have my Kindle, and I would sit in bed. I have eaten many an Oreo while my kid is sleeping next to me.
The camelback water of a little beer right there.
No, I mean, really, hey, sometimes you got to make time for yourself, and sometimes it's going to be a little kludgy when, your kids are really young, but that's fine. But try to make some time for yourself every week. Figure out what that time, maybe it's your morning coffee. Maybe you're going to get up in the morning, you want to have coffee before your kids get up, and that's your time. But, and this sounds so basic, but I know that there are moms and dads out there that you guys are not giving yourselves once a week out of the house, even for an hour, or any time during it.
And demand it for both spouses. Like if you have a husband who's working all week, you get some time, and he also gets some time. He deserves that as well, and she deserves that as well. Don't approach it in a situation where I need this, but say we both need this.
It's important.
How
for
can
everyone.
we both work together and get some time away? Because yes, it is a lot. It's not easy.
It's a lot, and on your daddy's night out, I have to push you out of the house a lot of times. You're like, no, I'm fine, and I said, no, go, I got this. We got to be there for each other. So I think those kind of, that kind of self-care is really important. Just, it doesn't have to be anything grand. Just take some time where you can breathe and recharge your batteries.
Go for a long walk. It could be an hour-long walk or something.
Right.
Sometimes you get to
in your
do that as
That's
well.
what I do. I'll do like a walk in our neighborhood by myself, and I listen to a podcast, and that's me time, and that's fine.
Do you happen to listen to Homeschool together?
Sometimes I do.
Oh, have you left a review on iTunes?
So, talking about recharging batteries, the other thing that's really important for self-care,
Sleep.
make sure that you're eating well. I mean, we often forget we're feeding our kids and we forget to eat. So eat well and then get your sleep.
Oh yeah. It's
really hard to get enough sleep, and some of us.
S-E-L-E-E-P.
I
find out what it means to.
I know that for myself, I'm up late. I'm reading. I'm planning for homeschool.
Yeah.
I'm doing other things. My brain's active. I have a hard time going to sleep. If you need to take some natural calm or some sort of other magnesium supplement to make yourself, sleep more deeply, watch your sleep. Get good sleep.
Yeah.
Once a week, we try to share.
Well,
of us getting a sleep in morning.
I get to sleep in on Saturday morning.
And I get to sleep in on Sunday mornings.
Unless the toddler Van Dams the door at 7 a.m.
That was the dog. The dog did that. Anyways, we digress. But we try to share and each have one day a week where we can just sleep in. And that's really hard, especially if you're a mom or a nursing mom with a little one. So
yeah, it is.
Do your best. But, if you and your spouse care for one another in as much as you can, maybe you go to sleep early one night. If you can't sleep in, maybe there's a night that you get to go to bed early and you can get extra sleep. But, having that self-care and then looking out for your partner and making sure that they're self-caring as well, because, sometimes I feel so run down. It's like,
I think the research is in on sleep being one of the most important things the most important things you can do in your life. There's so many downstream effects from that. Better health, lower blood pressure, better, longevity is built into it as well. The stress of not sleeping enough, all the anxiety and the physiological effects of not sleeping just will carry forward in so many other aspects of your life. Having that nice bedrock of, 7 hours a night, 8 hours a night. And I get it. When we have little kids, they wake up and whatever. And we totally get that.
It's totally tough.
And we know that's a very finite period of time unless you have 5 kids and you've been doing it for 10 straight years. I'm really thinking, I'm worried about you. But other than that, we're beyond that now. We're into the, we're not having another child. We have a 5-year-old, 6-year-old-ish, 2-year-old who sleeps through the night. We're finally to the point where we can actually start getting regular sleep. And, it is a wonderful thing.
But it's really hard if you've got a baby, or expecting another, your sleep can often be compromised by your kids. And we have been there. We had a child who co-slept with us until she was 2 and needed to be cuddled to go to sleep. And, it's, we've totally been there and know how that goes. But those were times too, when sometimes, we would get her to sleep. We'd come back out of the room and you would say, no, go into sleep, right?
Yeah,
so
go to bed.
We pushed each other to get enough sleep.
Yeah, and really being thoughtful about both you and your spouse working together to really think about the other. Like, no, you need some sleep. You're tired. You're worn out. Go to bed right now. I will take care of cleaning up the dishes. I will take care of, doing this type of thing. Go to bed. Get some good sleep. Even if you don't go to bed, if you just go into the bedroom, you lay down, you start reading your book, and you get into that nice kind of sleep cycle. You're getting rid of I think it's the blue light, doing all those great methods of kind of winding down your head. Yeah, you're not on your phone. You're not doing these type of things, and you really get that sleep. I think it's so important.
It's really important. All this self-care stuff, it's pretty basic, but I know that there's folks out there who are not giving enough time to themselves. And remember that taking time for yourself to do the things that relax you and center you and all that stuff, it's good for your kids to see that too. It's good for your kids to see you doing that to each other, right? It's sometimes our daughters ask, well, where's daddy going tonight? And I said, oh, well, it's girls' night. Yeah, but daddy's going to miss it. No, daddy's having his own time to do the things that are important and fun for him. And that's good for them to see, right? Yeah. It's good for them to know that when I go off to, pre-pandemic and hopefully soon again, I'll be doing local theater. They knew that I had a hobby that I enjoyed and that was me time and I needed that. I want them to feel the freedom that they can pursue the things that make them happy and, that help them to be relaxed and calm and all that stuff. So it's good for them to see us doing that too. So, remember, you're not just caring for yourself, but you're setting a great example for your kiddos too, to be adults who care for themselves. We give so much to our kids, and just don't forget to take some time for yourself.
Well, I think we give, but we need to realize that we deserve time to ourselves as well. And I think that's something that needs to be demanded, not in like a negative way, but demanded and asserted, so that you can have that thing. Because if you don't assert it, you're right. If you're not kicking me out of the house, I'm not going to leave the house.
Right.
So,
I have to like physically throw you out.
Yeah.
And no, I got it. And you're like, no, it's going to go pear-shaped. You can't handle the kids for like an hour. I'm like, I got it. It's going to be fine. And I just have to push you sometimes. It's important that we do that for each other. Otherwise, eventually we're going to get burned out. And, it's a slow whittling process. It might not be right away, but eventually you're going to be totally fried.
Yeah. Then it's going to break, and then it's going
to
be.
We're going to be, and that's when the time when I have not taken time for myself and I'm not getting good sleep and all that stuff. That's the time I end up yelling at our daughter. She's doing something that's super typical 5-year-old and really frustrating. And I have zero patience for her. Yep. And then that strains our relationship. So it leads to all kinds of bad things.
But piggybacking on what you said, where we're working together, we're a partnership here, what are people can do to improve their marriage? What are things that they can, and not like marriage counseling, but what can they do to make sure that they're having a good time together? So a lot of times children can be this giant wedge between two parents, and sometimes it feels like we're working together, but it feels like
at a distance.
You're over there and I'm over here. And we're like, we're two cowboys herding the cats through the wilderness.
Yeah. And then I find too that sometimes all we're talking about is the kids.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
All we're talking about is homeschool and about the kids. And that's not great either. It's really difficult to make, not only you have to make time for yourself, but you have to make time for your spouse as well. And there are times when I don't make time for myself, or you, I know it's more you than me. You don't make time for yourself because you feel guilty that you're not spending time with me together. Mm-hmm. And so if you can set aside time that you you're going to give to your spouse each week, so that you don't have to feel guilty about the time you take for yourself, that's important. One of the things we love to do is feed the kids, put them to bed early, or let them watch a movie or something, and then we have a quiet dinner, just us.
Yeah, that's not mac and cheese and hot dogs.
Right. Whatever it is. Yeah, we feed them something that took like no effort to make, whatever that is. We heat up some leftovers or some quesadillas or something easy, and then we make something nice, preferably something that the kids would not want to eat.
Exactly.
And we sit in the dining room and let the kids watch a movie, and we play a board game, or we just talk. We have a bottle of wine. We're just having some time where we don't have to eat in 10 freaking minutes, because there's like a very short eating window when you have a 2-year-old.
It's so funny when we're over at my parents. Like, my dad eats like a bird, and
he eats so slowly.
We're over here. We're done in 10 minutes. We're like, okay, we got to get going. This kid is gonna pull the eject button here.
Yeah, we're so ready for the kids to be done.
Yeah, and even our meals are shaped by what's going on there.
Right. Well, we try to make our kids wait while other people finish, but our 2-year-old, she's at the like throwing food stage. So like that just doesn't work out. So try once a week to plan a dinner where you can have that with your spouse after the kids are done.
No
eating.
Phones, no distractions,
right.
No nothing.
Just talk. And we love to pull out a card game or something. We'll finish dinner and we'll just sit and play cards. Sometimes we'll just put the kids to bed a little bit early. We'll both read, put them to bed, and then we can just have the house actually quiet, which is nice. So do that if you can, once a week or once every other week. Just try to make a little bit of time. And then try to make some time, some other time with your spouse that we like to do together, time that's not interactive. We can still, sometimes we will merge self-care time and togetherness time. Like, for example, last night we cuddled up on the couch and we both read our books. It was
I don't like watching TV. Some people don't like watching TV. It's not really a thing for me.
Right. Well, we could have watched a show together if that's what we wanted to do. But in this way, we did something that we both enjoy doing. We were both doing our hobby, but we were sitting together.
It's weird. Like sometimes, just like we talk about it, like the morning hug.
Yeah, we do a 30-second hug.
Yeah.
It's really great, y'all. Sometimes
it lasts about 10 seconds and it gets interrupted by the toddler who wants to join
right,
in.
but sometimes we just like look at each other and we do like 30-second hug,
A lot of
and then we
times-
go back.
Yeah, like
And then we reset. It's just like enough of a connection that it sustains me for like another few hours.
Yeah, a lot of times you realize you're like, we're not sitting next to each other with my arm around your shoulder or walking down the street holding hands. We just can't do that because you got these two, wild animals that are in the house
Right,
that you have to deal with.
The kids are taking our attention, and so if you can
just even the physical touching isn't there sometimes.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. And so sometimes we get so busy that we don't have time to sit and really talk or anything. And
so like sitting next to each other, we're actually like shoulder to shoulder and we're like leaning on each other. That it's really nice.
Yeah,
right?
that counts.
And it's quiet.
That counts as couples connection time in my book. Yeah. One of the things we've been doing, which we've really loved, is we have chosen a book to read together.
Yep.
And this has been a super fun thing for us.
We got to start the new one.
I know we're going to start Eye of the World.
Eye of the World.
So we pick a book that we're both interested in, and we agree to a reading cadence. Like we're going to read one chapter every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever works for you. We don't read it together. We're reading it individually, but it gives us something to talk about that's not
the children,
the kids, or the podcast, right? Or work. So we tend to kind of talk about the same stuff because the kids and the podcast are what we have going on, and we're excited to talk about those things together and brainstorm ideas. And then of course we talk about, what happened at my job or what's going on this weekend. But this gives us something like totally different that we can talk about together. And so we've chosen books that might have been a little bit, I might not have understood previously. We read Dune together. We just
Casino
finished
Royale.
The Godfather.
We read, The Godfather.
We just pick, and what we try to do is pick a book that has a movie.
Yeah.
So at the end of it,
we used to do a lot of dinners and movie before the kids.
Yeah, when we were still dating, and then before the kids. So what we try to do is pick a book that has a movie so that at the end we watch the movie, and sometimes we'll have a meal that kind of pairs with it. And that's one of those nights where we'll put the kids to bed early. So we did The Godfather last, put the kids to bed early, and we made a little Italian dinner, and we had some vino with it, and we watched part of the movie until we were too tired and fell asleep. But, it was great. So this is something that we can do even when we're not together. It's still a connection that we can have together. And so it's been super fun for us. So
we've been doing my gosh, we've been doing it for over a year and a half now. 2 years.
Yeah, we've been doing it for quite a while. We really enjoy it. And it's fun choosing the book too that we both might be interested in. I mean, you can read it as slow or as quick as you want to.
Yeah.
But it gives us something that we can talk about, like, oh, did you understand what happened with this? Well, I didn't see that coming. Or, I don't know. It's kind of like having our own personal book club, but it's about something that we're really into. So that's really cool. So making time for each other, even if it's just to be together quietly, is something that counts.
I agree. Next thing, if you do have the opportunity, whether it's a babysitter or whether you have in-laws close to you, do try to go out on the dates. For us, for a long time, we didn't have any family here in the area, so we weren't able to do that. And I think a couple times we paid for the babysitter, but for a lot of us, we think about it, you're going to go out to dinner 3 hours, babysitter, that's an extra $60 or whatever it is.
Well, and we didn't have kids that we felt really like would do babysitters. We had young kids too that still needed, that were still nursing and different things. And
now that my parents are here locally, it is a nice thing where we can
nicer.
Yeah, we can get away for a meal with no children, and we can actually sit down at a dinner and say, we'd like an appetizer. Oh, what would you like for entree? We don't know yet. We're going to decide.
We're going to take our time. Yeah, we're just going to have an appetizer and a drink. Thanks.
Yeah.
So trying to get out on dates, everybody says that. Getting out on dates is really hard. Try to plan something, and it doesn't have to be elaborate. We oftentimes will just go out to dinner and we'll we'll take a game with us.
We just had our first childless vacation in 6 years.
Right. Yeah. We don't get out much, y'all.
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
We can't really talk, but just remember, it's something that whenever I think about it, I go, I just need to put it on the calendar. I have grandma around, but I don't really think of it often. We're busy. We have other things going on.
Yeah.
And I don't think about doing dates on a weeknight either, which our weekends are very busy. So I need to think of that more often. And this is a note to myself. I need to be more cognizant of getting out and
I'm taking that note down right now as your secretary.
yes, I need to take this note myself because I don't do it enough. So this is just, make time for your spouse and really care about, think about what rejuvenates you as a couple, and
everybody will have different things. Maybe you go
Right.
skiing, or maybe you like to go river rafting, or maybe you want to go camping together, or whatever you guys end up liking, going for a hike,
come up
riding
with
bikes
some sort
together
of
down a
hobby
trail.
together.
Whatever
Honestly,
it might be, yeah.
this podcast has become
Our
our
hobby.
hobby together.
Yeah,
and
it is.
it's really funny. We didn't.
Well, it's funny because it puts us together here for an
Yeah.
hour, and we get to chat, and I get to stare at you, and there's no children in here. It's
Yeah.
very funny. It's like
This is like
all
a
these
lot of our
people are-
together time.
all these strangers are listening to us chat. This is our time together.
Yeah.
And it is funny, like we do spend a lot of time. We spend a lot more time together because of this podcast, and I like it. And that's one of the reasons why I don't think we're going to stop.
Right. No, we really enjoy it.
We're down to one listener.
When we first started, it was something that you were like, "Hey, I've always wanted a podcast, and you know so much about homeschooling. Let's podcast." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Didn't know what I was getting into. The greatest joy of this podcast for me has been doing this with you.
Yeah, I
and
agree.
the time we get to spend together. The second greatest joy is getting to meet all of you. Meeting people within the homeschool world is like just
Always fun.
amazing because all of y'all are amazing and so fabulous. So,
So
yeah,
attack the home, attack yourself. Not
attack. No, I think
Well,
let's
okay,
change
let's
it.
say-
Let's change
let's
it.
say like,
Care for your
care
home.
for your home, care for
yourself.
yourself, care for your marriage. Lots of
That's-
caring.
There's lots of caring. This is like a nice warm hug episode.
Yeah.
Hey, tell us.
Take some time, reassess what's important. We're coming out of the pandemic. Everybody's got to start making some decisions about themselves. we gotta shave off
It's time to get rid of the leggings.
get rid of the
Sigh.
leggings, shave off the pandemic beard. It's time. It's time for you to be an adult again. Start putting on pants for your Zoom call.
Listen, I'm
Listen.
neither going to confirm nor deny that I take meetings in my pajamas.
Ariel, what happened to your webcam? It broke.
I
have
have
another
been
one on.
surprised a couple of times when they decided to turn them on when I wasn't expecting it. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. I must have a poor connection. So let us know. These are just some ideas that we have. We were kind of kicking around some things, from listeners who had this question.
Mhm.
Tell us what you do. Tell us, tell us what tips and tricks that you found. What was that like aha moment for you that really made a difference in your adulting life?
Absolutely. So let's end it real quick the way we always end it. Something that we're into. The Kiwi crate that came in. I think it was actually for last month. I'm a little behind on the Kiwi
We
crates.
got the Kiwi crate stacking up.
Yeah, I got rid of the old boxes. I have 2 boxes that are unopened. I went to the bottom one, and the first thing was a rocket launcher for our 5.5-year-old.
It was pretty awesome.
She's staring at it. We're putting it together. She finally puts it together. I said, okay. It's this really cool kind of cardboardy launcher unit that has this big, almost like a
It's like a bellows.
yeah, like a bellows, and if you stomp on it, it shoots air out of the tube, and you put the little rocket on top, and it will send the rocket a good 30 or 40 feet.
So I'm sure for those of you that don't do Kiwi crate, we really enjoy Kiwi
We do,
crate.
yeah, and
We don't get paid to say this. We
No, we
just
don't.
really enjoy Kiwi
yeah,
crate.
check out our review. I think we had a podcast way back.
Yeah, we'll link it in the
Somewhere
show
in the
notes. But I'm
70s or
sure there's
something.
something like this on Amazon that has a
Yes.
rocket launcher. I'm going to leave it to Matthew to find that link and put it in the show notes.
Well, I'll put it in there.
I cannot tell you how many hours our children have spent playing with this thing, but
Even
it's been great.
even the 2-year-old totally got it, put it on, starts stomping on it.
Yeah, these little foam rockets, like a Nerf rocket,
A Nerf rocket.
essentially, and they're using their own foot power. So, highly recommend.
Really, really enjoyable and a good source of learning. Good, if you want to do a little bit of a STEMmy research, if you're doing one of these science-based unit studies from some of the secular creators that we've talked to in the last few months. There's a lot of opportunity there to kind of get into the rocket science, especially with the rocket launches that are going to be coming up this summer when they're going to send Bezos and Bronson into the space. It might be kind of a cool thing to get a little
Bronson? Richard Branson.
Branson. Oh yeah, Charles Bronson.
Yeah.
Death wish.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
They both have a death wish. I wouldn't get on their rockets.
The right thing.
Anyway, get yourself a homemade rocket set. Maybe send your kids into orbit for a few hours so you can get a little bit of self-care time with your husband.
Self-care time with your husband. Sound good.
Family show, Ariel. Family show.
Thanks so much for joining us today and making us a part of your homeschool journey. Please engage with us on social media. Join our Homeschool Together podcast group on Facebook and find us at Homeschool Together Podcast on Instagram. We'd love to hear your feedback, questions, and recommendations. Until next time,
Happy homeschooling!